In this video, we will try to assemble the Amazon Basics utility supply cart. In this view, we can see the hardware included with the cart. You will need a Phillips head screwdriver and a 10mm wrench to assemble this cart. Here is a close-up view of the hardware included with this cart. Here is one of 4 support legs of the cart. At the bottom of each leg is pre-installed hardware that will allow each wheel to be attached. The legs and shelves have edges that are bent and cut. On both the legs and the shelves, there are also holes that are spaced differently on each side of the corners. We will start the assembly at the corner of the bottom shelf. The hardware for the wheel cuts into the edges, and different spacing in the holes make it possible to align the proper leg with any corner of the shelf. So once the leg is in place with the shelf, it allows a temporary support with the holes lined up. Once the leg and shelf are set, the hardware with the Phillips head was inserted into the hole on the leg. In this view, we can see the threads from the hardware. We will start the fasteners by hand over the threads. While holding the fastener on the thread, we will turn the screwdriver. We will next hold the screwdriver and turn the fastener on the head with a ratcheting wrench. Either way or both will work. The point is that you have to hold one to turn the other. No torque spec was provided for the hardware. There are only instructions that read not to over-tighten the hardware. The instructions also recommend to regularly check that the hardware is tight. That being said, I chose to tighten the hardware snug. While ratcheting wrench helps us save time, we will use a standard wrench to tighten down the fastener snug. Here's another idea on how to assemble these pieces. You can start each corner just a little loose at first so all the sides can come together easily, then tighten all the hardware. Regardless of which way you choose to tighten the hardware during assembly, it's good to go back and check all the fasteners before adding any weight to the cart. This process was repeated for the remaining corners of the bottom shelf. Here are some other items to mention while working on this cart. For such a simple and common cart, it has many names to identify it. Amazon markets this as the Amazon Basics Steel 2-shelf multi-purpose tub utility supply cart with 260-pound capacity. Here are some of the other names used to identify a cart like this. Carts like this could be called a rolling cart, a service cart, a tool cart, a trolley, a tub, or a utility cart. This cart has many names likely because it has so many functions and is marketed to a huge amount of people. As marketed, the cart has a capacity of 260 pounds or 120 kilograms. As a side note, 260 pounds converts to exactly 117.9 kilograms. 120 kilograms converts to exactly 264.6 pounds. Now back to the assembly of the cart. With the bottom shelf done, we will now work on the top shelf. While we work on the top shelf, here are some additional ideas. As seen, the finish can get a little scratched or scuffed during assembly. If you want to avoid this, as much as possible use cardboard, drop cloth, and/or rags. The softer items can help protect the finish from the friction of the tools or metal-to-metal contact with the parts themselves. We will now work on the handle. The handle comes in 3 pieces. I chose to install one of the support pieces first at the rear side of the top shelf. As seen, I kept the hardware just a little loose because I'll be tightening up all the hardware after everything is in place. I then put the bar inside the handle support that was installed. While holding the bar in the handle support that was installed, I put the bar in the second handle support. With the bar, I lined up the second handle support to the holes on the top leg and top shelf. With everything in place, I inserted the hardware. I started the fastener by hand and repeated the process to tighten it down. Now that both sides were in place, I tightened down all the hardware. Here's a view with the cart tipped over. This is the hardware at the bottom of the leg to install the wheel. To start to attach the wheel, it can be twisted by hand. From this view, you can see the adjustable wrench would be too thick to tighten the wheel down flush. To tighten the wheel with a tool, a very thin wrench about 21 millimeters would be needed. This view also gives an idea of how part of the wheel needs to be held while the bearings rotate with the thread. Since I didn't have the proper size wrench, I had to improvise. To tighten the wheel down flush, I used the tongue and groove pliers with a rag. As a side note, this tool may also be called a slip joint pliers, groove joint pliers, or adjustable pliers. Although it was not the proper tool for the job, it did accomplish the task of tightening the wheels flush into the leg. This process was repeated for the remaining corners. 2 out of the 4 wheels for this cart has a lock or brake. The locks are on the same side for each wheel. That being said, I chose to install the wheels with the locks on the rear side with the handle. The material of the cart is steel. The finish on this cart is powder coated with gray color. After the entire cart was assembled, I went back with a standard wrench to check every fastener. Overall, I'm satisfied with this cart. I think its value is high considering that it is a lightweight, light-duty cart. Thank you for watching.